All I've heard all week from Notre Dame fans or their media, we are 8 deep at defensive tackle, which is crazy.
Where do they get that from?
I don't see how they're 8 deep at defensive tackle. No team in the country is 8 deep at defensive tackle, but I'll give them credit that they have some guys in terms of pass rushers, edge setters, but no one has played at the ceiling on that roster as Akeem Mesidor and Ruben Bain. Production-wise in a single season, none of those guys on Notre Dame's roster have done that.
And I really feel like Akeem Mesidor, this is his breakout year. Because they did put him in a terrible position last year because the NIL deals, they had to play, what's his name at in instead of Akeem Mesidor?
Tyler Barron.
Yeah, Tyler Barron. They had to put him, and we saw how that happened, how he kind of fell apart at the end of the year. It totally took a year away from Akeem Mesidor. And when people say money doesn't matter in college football, it does. Because that's the only reason that dude played in over Akeem Mesidor. And that really hurt. I like being on the ends. He's such a team player. This guy didn't complain. On camera, he was like, yeah, I like being on the inside. No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't. You like being on the end, and that's where he is now. I think he's going to dominate with Ruben Bain. I really feel this is the most complete team I've seen in the last 10, 15 years from the Miami Hurricanes. Maybe 20.
I would say 20.
20, right?
Yeah.
I think you have to go back to 2005, even though the way that season ended, the Georgia Tech game that was moved from the beginning of the year to the end of the year because of the hurricane early on in the season. Kyle Wright, offense kind of sputtered at the end of the year.
About him.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great luxury to have Cam Ward, and then you have Carson Beck following that up. And I've mentioned this a few times. I think if Carson Beck can find success this year, you got something going on in Coral Gables. You got something akin to what Lincoln Riley did at Oklahoma. He had 3 transfer quarterbacks back to back to back.
I just don't understand the people dogging Carson Beck when the guy's thrown over 3,000 yards last 2 seasons in the SEC. But you're going to say Carr's a great quarterback. He has a lot of potential. That's literally what Notre Dame is saying. A lot of fans from Notre Dame are saying. I'm sure the experts aren't saying that. But I don't think he gets enough credit for being in the SEC, throwing for over 3,000 yards, when his worst season last year is only 170 yards behind Klubnik. That's what he threw. Klubnik threw for 150 more yards than Carson Beck last year. Yeah, Carson Beck had 12 interceptions to 6, but also Klubnik's receivers didn't drop 36 balls for last season. So I just really feel also, if you're Carson Beck, you want to show out this game. This is big. This is not too big for him. It's a big game for us, but he's big. I want to say he's been in bigger matchups than this. He's been,
Yes.
So this is just another game to him.
Well, think of it this way. The team that knocked Georgia out of the playoff last year when Carson Beck was not playing after his injury, it was Notre Dame.
Yep.
That Notre Dame offense, you ask me personally, I'm not too amazed by that offense. We've talked about this, Mike.
Yes, we have.
The receivers are okay. Jaden Greathouse had some nice moments in the playoffs.
They got Malachi Fields now. He's pretty good.
Malachi Fields
from
is
Virginia,
great.
yes. But just that Notre Dame offense, it wasn't like they lighted the entire world on fire in the playoffs. It was roughly an average between 24 to 27 points in the playoffs. You watch that college football championship game as well. Ohio State boat raced them in the first half.
Oh, yeah.
They basically just kind of laid back in the second half and said, all right, we got the game in hand.
Well, like I said, Greathouse, everybody's talking about how they have a superior matchup against Miami's receivers. Well, your best receiver last year caught 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
2 of them in the national championship when the game was 31-0. So they weren't even playing their first stringers at that time. In the third quarter was his first touchdown to make it 31-7. So I don't really feel, besides the guy from Virginia, I don't really feel they have a huge yes, our receivers haven't caught balls in games, a lot of them yet. But I feel that if the one place where you can not be a veteran, you can't do it. It's hard for a freshman to be in the trenches and just stand out. But a receiver, speed is speed. And Florida receivers are different, man. So I really feel they'll show up for the moment, and I feel like some of them are going to pop that night.
Well, I think what Notre Dame did especially well last year. And if Miami had done this well, they would have been in the playoff. Maybe the championship game was play complementary football, right? Miami, the offense was number one in the country. Defense let us down time and time again, right? I mean, Notre Dame creating turnovers, big plays on special teams to help out an offense that wasn't nearly as good as Miami's last year. But I think the good news for Miami, Gio, this year is I think the defense is going to be a lot better. Like I think the defensive secondary is transformed, and I think the defensive philosophy is transformed from Corey Heatherman. And I also strongly believe that Mohamed Touré and the linebacker core is going to turn out to be one of the more impactful transfers in all of college football.
Well, funny enough, you mentioned Mohamed Touré. It's confirmed this week that he's wearing number 1 this year. Mario Cristobal has mentioned countless of times that number 1 jersey has significance for this roster. The first 2 players to wear that number was actually last year, Cam Ward, Kiko Malinois, and now you have Josiah Trader, who is back from injury. I know many people have been asking,
yes, thank you.
Is he hurt? Is he okay?
We don't talk about injuries. What are you speaking about?
Well, the photos have surfaced as well and whatnot, so I think it's fair to say. But we'll see what the snap count is like for him. But he, so far, so good with his return to the field. But Mohamed Touré, though, he's played in Corey Heatherman's system at Rutgers. The last time he was on the field, 92 tackles, double-digit tackles for loss, caught an interception against an Ohio State team that's been basically a perennial college football playoff contender every year. So he's played big-time football. You have all conference guys that you've added at linebacker, at cornerback, freshman All-American, because everyone remembers O.J. Frederick last year, but you bring in Xavier Lucas, you bring in Ethan O'Connor, Zachariah Poyser. These are guys that have all played at the highest level where they played before. So, again, coming into this defense, I know what Corey Heatherman really likes to do as well. Bump and run, man coverage. Hey, you just got to line it up, lace it up, and play on Sunday.
Well, let me ask you this. If you're Notre Dame, if you're their offense, if you're their OC, where do you attack? Miami. What's the first place you're going? Of course, they're going to try to run. We know that. Yeah. But is that first on their board? Let's try to run the ball. If that fails, then what?
I think it's first on their board, it's second on their board, and it's third on their board. Honestly, because I think they want to make CJ Carr's life as easy as possible, if they can.
Well, that's if they can, though.
If they can.
I mean, you know, as much as they talk about Notre Dame's pass rush, Miami's got about 6 deep at defensive end. You know, they talk about 8 deep at defensive tackle. No, Miami is 6 deep at defensive end. You go down from Ruben Bain, Akeem Mesidor, Armando Blunt, and Marquise Lightfoot, who've had tremendous off seasons that they are going to take a big step this year. Those guys are going to be key contributors. I actually have Marquise Lightfoot down as the breakout star of this game. Him and Jordan Lyle.
I like that.
Okay. Do you think in the right situations they will bump down Akeem and Ruben, or will they keep him at in the big pass rush downs?
They'll kick him inside.
Third and long.
Third and long NASCAR packages, if you will. You'll see that come into play. They also do that with Armando Blunt as well. So that will come into play because Miami, they love their top 3 guys at D tackle. After that, we've talked about this over and over all offseason. Yes, you got a young guy in Dante Simpson, but as you mentioned, young guys in the trenches, physicality at that age, being 17, 18 years old, going up against grown men that
it's
are
hard.
20,
it's hard.
21, 22. Oh, well, you got super seniors now that are like 25 in college. So,
did we have a 28-year-old last year on the team?
Pretty close to it. I
think
actually,
he did hit 28.
He was pretty close to it. He played about 8 years in college.
Yeah.
9, I think.
It was 9.
Yeah.
It was 9 actually. Yeah. No. I when I used to work at Life Wallet, I had a few conversations with him, and really nice kid, by the way. Great story and everything.
Super nice.
It was incredible talking about it though with him, like how I went down the whole timeline with him, and he's like, yeah, you know, I got hurt this year, got hurt that year, then I got a red shirt. I was like, just trying to add it all up, and then he was like, oh yeah, then the COVID year. I'm like, man, this is crazy with the eligibility now.
I have a question that for you two and anybody in the audience when we get to that part too. It's interesting to me. They're acting like I know Notre Dame has great defensive backs. We hear about that all the time. But they're acting like we're not going to be able to complete one pass. Like they're really saying like, oh, they're going to just stop Carson Beck from throwing the ball, which when they played Louisville last year, that quarterback threw for over 300 yards against them.
Exactly.
So I'm wondering like, why are they thinking that all of a sudden?
Here's why it happened in one game. And they're extrapolating it like it's going to happen every game because, when they went up against Penn State, and by the way, Penn State did not have good receiver. They had a great tight end, no receivers. But, Penn State literally did not complete a pass to a wide receiver against them. But happened one time, like you said.
Well, but I believe they played two passing teams, and those teams went. Syracuse threw for over 250 yards on them. And then you had Louisville throw for over 350 yards on him. But they're like, oh, since your receivers are new, which we have three veteran-ish guys on the team, C.J. Daniels, Tony, and
Marion
to some point.
Tony Johnson, and C.J.
I don't know
Daniels.
if they'll play that much. But I know C.J. will. But the other two, I mean, Malachi Tony's probably going to be in there more, if I were to guess, because apparently he's just like a game breaker.
Well, I'm curious, Gio, what do you think about that in terms of what the receiver rotation is going to look like on Sunday? And here's the part B to that question. Do you think they might go a little more veteran heavy this week and then maybe open the rotation up a little bit more next week and beyond?
I think they have full trust in Malachi Tony. I wouldn't be surprised if he's starting in the slot when they open up that game on Sunday at 7:30. So I think you'll see.
And
CJ,
are you comfortable with that?
I am, from what I've seen. Look, I'm not going to say I'm batting 100 all the time, but I think I have a good, keen eye for some of these things. I've seen enough football, enough of these guys come through the program to know, who's a Green Tree All-American, who can actually play. Malachi Tony's been doing this since he was in Pop Warner football. He did it at the high school level as well, gets to cut here to the collegiate level at the University of Miami, and just lights it on fire from day one. And that, by the way, a lot of credit's got to go. I know we talk about Malachi Tony a lot, but one guy I really want to give his flowers to, Ray Joseph. He had a really good offseason. I know Malachi gets all the hype and the praise, and deservedly so. He's 17 years old in college playing against 20-year-old men. So that there's a big difference there. So, yes, Ray Joseph definitely deserves his flowers. But in terms of the starters, though, as you mentioned, stay on track here. C.J. Daniels on the outside at the X receiver spot. And I think the Z, it's all going to come down to where are they at in the process of JoJo Trader's health? Yes, he's back on the field. He's going to play. But what is the snap count going to look like? Are they going to limit it, full go this game? We'll see. He is practicing. He is playing again. But if it's not JoJo, I think you're going to see Keelan Marion on that other side. And I will say, though, Shannon Dawson gave him his praise because a lot of people think he's just the return guy. Shannon Dawson shared with the media this week he could run every route in the tree. So I think if your offensive coordinator is saying that, it's not just fluff. It's saying it for a reason.
I'm just happy we got somebody that can run a kickoff back.
Yeah.
Or a punt, because we haven't had that in 20 years. Well, no, not that long. But we've had a couple, maybe two people that could do that.
Brashard Smith, but not consistent enough.
Yeah.
Here, anyway. It's good in Dallas, but
But, I mean, seriously, we haven't had like when we're back there for a kickoff, it hasn't been exciting at all. There's no, like, they're going to get tackled at the 20-yard line. They're going to run up somebody's butt and then, boom, get knocked down every single time. And no disrespect to whoever was returning last year.
Chris Johnson Jr.
Okay. Anyway, but what I'm saying is now I feel like we have a chance to score touchdowns on a kickoff, and teams are going to be very worried now to kick off to us and punt.
And which I'm happy about.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, what do you, Gio and Michael, if you want to weigh in on this as well? I don't know. Gio might know this better than me and Michael do. Kicker, are we thinking Carter Davis for the kickoffs and Bert Auburn for the field goals? Is that what we're expecting?
It's pretty much, but don't be surprised if you see a situation with the kickers where Carter Davis comes in on kicks that are beyond 45 yards. That's anything within 45 is Bert Auburn's been kind of Well, not within 45. Sorry, I said that backwards. Beyond 45, it's been a little inconsistent for him throughout his career at Texas. I will say, though, I'm going to give him his credit. Yes, kicking is a very mental game. However, I think where people don't give him enough credit during the 2023 season, not last year, but the prior year, he set a record for the most points scored at Texas. So this guy's definitely played a ton of football, and he did it at a pretty high level before. So you hope to get some level of consistency from him. But Carter Davis, I think beyond 45, you'll see him in there situationally.
So that kicker he's kind of like the Carson Beck of kicking. Had 2 years ago was fantastic. Last year was like, that's great.
You bring up a great point.
But
to Beck's defense, Georgia did lead the country in dropped yardage, like drop passes and the yardage that accounted
and they
for.
were 102nd in rushing.
102nd in rushing.
Weird to say about Georgia because usually year
they're a good running team.
Yeah.
And the biggest argument I hear from Notre Dame fans, because they're all in our timelines and stuff, you think your offensive line is better than Georgia? And yeah. Do you think your receivers were? Yeah, we do. But it's a thing where we lost a lot of receivers. But we didn't lose, to me, a lot of elite receivers. And you can tell that by the NFL draft, right? Where I feel this group coming in, they will be first, second round picks. Like, you will see these people in the NFL. You will see these people make rosters. And no disrespect to any other receivers, but I feel that's the type of receivers Mario is getting now.
Yeah. Now, I want to take a deeper dive with you guys on Carson Beck because I'll admit I don't know, I'm a little skeptical when he first transferred over. I think a lot of that has to do with I kept hearing what the bitter X's in Georgia were saying about him. But I'll tell you, since he started, we started to get the feedback from the off-season workouts, it was late April, early May, whenever he was cleared. And everything from there was like overwhelmingly positive. I had a chance to meet him for the first time a little over a month ago. I was actually blown away by like how much he really seems to love football, which is kind of contrary to what the Georgia folks were saying about him. And he's had a tremendous camp. And so in my eyes, his stock has not only risen, but it's like skyrocketed over the past month and a half to where like I knew Miami was getting a really experienced quarterback, but I had my doubts, especially coming off a Cam Ward season. I know Carson is yet to actually play a game, 2 days away from that in Miami, but based on the offseason he's had, I'm fully buying in.
I would agree. And some of that, the stuff I already mentioned, the drop passes from receivers at Georgia and the yardage and whatnot, but I agree from the offseason approach as well. And this is coming from people that have been around the program behind the scenes and what he's doing. Spends a lot of time in the film room, has gone out of his way to spend time with his teammates. This was a big component that people brought up with Cam Ward that he did. Carson did that since day one when he got here. I know everyone used to complain that, Tyler Van Dyke's to himself and this and that. Well,
remember here he had one receiver's number in his phone?
Yes. Xavier Restrepo. Well, do you remember that day that we were at it was a media session, right, Dono? And we were talking with Xavier Restrepo, and someone asked him, they're like, do you miss Tyler Van Dyke? He's like, yeah, well, he's my friend, but he's not my boyfriend.
I remember that.
Well, so I think the approach has been very good. He's did really well, especially in the last scrimmage, right before camp closed up. When did camp close? It's about like almost 2 weeks ago, right? At this point?
2 weeks ago.
About 2 weeks ago. Did really well in that scrimmage. I think the biggest thing that stands out between him and Cam Ward, because they're both two very different type of players. I think Carson is better straight line speed. I think he's faster than Ward in that aspect. Ward was more agile. With Carson, though, he processes things very quickly. He gets through his reads very, very fast. If the first option's not there, he's on to the next one, and he's willing to take the check down. And I know people.
Thank you.
I know people were driven crazy about this with Ward, even though he had phenomenal plays, and it's no slight to him. He's, I think, just possibly the most talented quarterback that ever played at Miami.
Yeah.
But sometimes you do have to play within the system. You have to continue moving the chains, and I think Miami will play more on time on offense this year. You'll see more routine plays. It may not be the big splashy, sexy plays, but routine offense that complementary football, basically, what you mentioned.
And I think what Cam Ward did last year was just uniquely Cam Ward. Like I don't think any other quarterback, maybe there's been a few others in history, can kind of get away with playing the way he does, where he's always looking to extend plays and take a deep shot. And I think it can. He's so gifted. I think it can translate to him in Tennessee with the Titans as well. But I think there are very few quarterbacks who can get away with playing the way he played. Like it was probably the most exciting offensive season. I go back to watching this team in the 80s, but I mean, what Cam Ward did last year was as entertaining, as anything I've ever seen.
It was incredible. Now, see, this is why I love Dono, and this is why I love you, Gio. Y'all are very nice, and y'all say the right things. I hated Carson Beck when he got here. And let me tell you what.
Okay.
Really?
I didn't like him at all because when he was making all these little TikTok videos with his little girlfriend and stuff like that, I was like,
she was the problem, though. She was on that TikTok.
Well, he was on it too. Like, I was like, what are you doing, man? Like, he was so annoying.
Well, here's the reality.
I'm not finished talking, Jill.
Go ahead.
No. I'm playing. No, but it was just so annoying to me that this man is going to take over our team after a dog like Cam Ward, and you're on TikTok videos dancing in the background with your basketball girlfriend. Not at Miami.
She kind of put him up to that. I spoke with someone who actually had a private conversation.
I mean, he looked like he was a hostage, like in the background of those videos.
You ever seen that TikTok video
he
where the guy?
He had a sign that said, "Help me, please."
Have you ever seen that viral TikTok video where the guy's with his girlfriend? He's like, "Hi, my name is so and so, and today is my girlfriend's birthday," and she literally looks like she's a hostage. That was Carson Beck during the offseason.
But he was in them.
He was in him.
You're right. You're the quarterback for Miami, and I don't care how much. It just didn't look good, man. And then when I heard, and then it's out there in my podcast when the players would talk about him. It didn't sound like they were excited about him at all. They were like, yeah, he's kind of, he's Carson Beck.
I think some of that's the injury thing too, that they weren't out there in the trenches with him.
That's true.
But he didn't seem like, I didn't know much about it. He didn't seem like he was a guy that would just take over a team like Cam. And I hate to compare him to Cam, but that's all we had from the year before. Like, it didn't seem he was a personable person. But then when he got well and started playing, then that's when you heard all the players kind of reverse their tone. They would never talk bad about him, but it's like, oh, that's my dude. And now it's, oh, we're brotherhood. And that's the biggest difference. And I've said this before. I love Carson Beck now because I think he's a perfect fit. He'll take the check down on schedule. Everything both of you said, that's Carson Beck. And I think he won't eclipse Cam's number, but he's going to do really well. I feel he's going to do great in this offense. I feel Shannon Dawson is going to put him in the right positions. But I also feel that with Cam, it opened the door to Carson Beck. You know, we got great quarterbacks there. I feel that Miami is going to start being a destination for quarterbacks and receivers now because of the history of these last two quarterbacks. You know, look, these kids don't care about the 80s and 90s like we do. They could care less, you know. Yeah, the 30 for 30 is great. They're not watching that. They're on YouTube doing Twitch and stuff like that.
Well, it's funny you mention that because I have people that ask me all the time. They say, Gio, but, you know, why do this recruit or whatever that he doesn't like Miami or he doesn't feel Miami like that? And I try to remind people, Miami, at least the last 20 years, on average, has been a 7 to 8 win team. They haven't seen the Miami teams of old or the Miami teams that have done great. It's been 2 great years out of all these years. And out of these past 20 years, you know, you look back to 2017 and last year, I think the biggest thing this year is that you continue that train going, that you show that there is no setback, there is no lapse, that this thing is on a trajectory.
This is when I know Miami's back. And I'm not just talking about on the football field. Is when you go to high schools, when you go to colleges, and people are just rocking Miami gear, like back in the day. It was the cool thing to wear. Two Live Crew, you'll start seeing rappers starting wearing. That's when you know Miami, like we
got in a Marvel movie with
we
with
did
Danny
get it.
Ramirez.
Yes, Danny Ramirez.
Shout out Danny Ramirez.
Look at that. We got a spy in here. We got a Notre Dame sitting in a drone that looks like a dragonfly.
Brian Kelly controlling that.
But I feel a couple more 10-win seasons. Like Miami's such an awesome place, and the team is awesome. The logo's awesome. It holds value still, and you haven't won in like 20. Like really 23, 24 years, but the weight of it. And I feel like we're a couple seasons away from it just being the trendy thing to be again. The trendy, you're going to put wins in. I feel we're going to do another 10, 11 win season this year. And people are going to want to rock it. No matter what school you go to, it's like rappers are going to wear it. People on TV, you'll start seeing it. I don't know, man. I feel that's coming. And it feels great.
So we all agree that Miami has a quarterback advantage going into this game.
Yes.
You're talking about a guy that went 24-3 in the SEC versus a guy who's never started or thrown a pass in a collegiate game. So running game, because I've been hearing all week, and I got into a spat with someone from Notre Dame media actually,
really?
Who claimed that he said that Jeremiah Love is a generational talent. I think generational talent is used way too loosely.
Yeah.
Like.
It
like
is.
so everyone now is everyone that's a great player now is a generational talent. When I think
Jeremiah Smith is a generational talent. That's a generational talent.
Reggie Bush, Adrian Peterson, those are generational talents. Not like Jeremiah Love. He had a nice season last year.
Yeah,
but I am going to steal a little of his thunder though.
Yeah, he did average
under 4 yards per carry against every playoff team that he played against last season.
Yeah, he looks really good when he hurdles, but some of those games where he was doing those hurdles, it was like a 40, 50-yard output. So it's not like the guy's been incredible every time he's touched the ball.
Well, my thing with Jeremiah Love is he averaged 70.3 yards per game. Yes, he was hurt in a couple of those games. Yeah. But you can't tell me, like if somebody says, man, you should see this guy run, he's an elite back. Oh, really? What's his stat? 70 yards per game. He's amazing. Like the numbers in every big game he played in, he didn't put up numbers. I think against the ACC schools, he averaged like I forgot who he played, but it was 3 yards was the top against ACC schools per carry. Like I don't know. And I said this to Dono. When you watch ESPN, when you watch all these other networks and their announcers, they get a sheet from their producer that says, here's what you say. Right. That's why when you watch it, they all say the same thing because it's the same sheet of paper. We're in the Miami bubble. That's why we know that I believe Lyle is going to be just as good as Love in that game. I mean, that's my opinion because I've seen Love play. If it's not a big run, he doesn't get anything. He's going to give you 3 yards.
Yeah, he's like a 3, 4, 5, 2, maybe a 70, maybe a 70.
Like 2, 3 yards, and then occasionally he'll break off.
He'll break off.
Is what Love.
I think
does.
I compared it to the Florida game last year. You know that guy was 2, 3 yards, but he had one. He broke a 50-yarder or a 60-yarder.
Johnson,
Yeah, I think that's the same thing. You're not going to stop him. No, you're not going to stop him the whole game. He will get one long run, but
here's the thing that I think gets lost in translation about this running game of Notre Dame because they're always talking about the running backs, and I think Jadarian Bryce, the kid behind Love, is a really good running back too.
He is.
However, about 50% of that production in their run game has gone and graduated.
Yeah.
His name is Riley Leonard. Had almost 1,000 yards rushing last year. Led them in rushing touchdowns too with 17 rushing touchdowns. So you remove that from the equation. You bring in a guy like CJ Carr who's more of a pocket passer. That offense is going to change. It's going to be kind of like a shock to that group.
I was surprised they went with Carr because if I'm watching the tape on Miami, I'm like, oh, we're using Minchie because they cannot handle. I mean, through the pass, they can't handle a dual threat quarterback. You know, we can't. In Georgia Tech game, we couldn't even handle a quarterback you knew that was going to run and the other one was going to pass.
Oh, that was dreadful.
Oh man, that was the worst.
That was either like the greatest misdirection from Marcus Freeman, or Carr must have had like a great scrimmage. You know, I think they had a scrimmage this Saturday or Sunday before he announced the starter because it wasn't just us who thought Minchie was going to start. I talked to a couple different people who cover Notre Dame for a living. And they were like, yeah, it looked like 90% Minchie or 99% Minchie, and then out of nowhere, it's CJ Carr.
And I mean, to me, that would have been the better choice. But you know, I'm not at their practices, but maybe this Carr. From what I understand, he threw a couple of great balls, you know, in that last scrimmage that Minchie couldn't do. But also, I heard they both had turnovers.
Yeah. But then the Notre Dame fan will tell you, oh, it's just because it's our secondary.
It's our secondary.
So yeah, that's what they'll say.
I don't know. don't know.
Well, I want to in a couple minutes. If anybody has any questions, do we have like an extra mic for the people?
Yeah, we got a mic over there. Yeah, if you want to throw out, we got Ben from You Heard. You Heard is in here.
Oh, Ben's here?
Yeah,
Where is Ben?
I want. You know what? We'll bring him up when we do predictions. We're going to bring you up when we do predictions. We want to get him up here. We got a mic over here. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Anybody got any questions you want to throw up? Yeah, here we go. Just give him the. Oh well, he's going to give you a mic so we can get it on.
He'll give you a microphone.
There we go.
This will be on the Comics on Kane's podcast.
On the podcast, yeah.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah. How's the arm health for Beck?
Great. No hitches in the arm at all. I've seen it. He's seen it.
Yeah.
I've actually talked to alumni that have watched the private sessions too. No problems whatsoever. It's crazy you would think about because it was only, when did that happen? That was
December.
December, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching that game, and he took a shot.
Yeah.
So, well, that's good news. Thanks.
Yeah, I think he was really diligent with the rehab, from what I could tell, because it's not, you're recovering from something like that, it's not automatic. Like, you have to really rock the rehab, and I know throughout the process, Mario was super impressed with the way he attacked that, because again, like, it was, not an earth-shattering injury, but for a quarterback to have your throwing elbow injured, it was definitely something he needed to devote the time to, and he's good now.
And they did their due diligence before they signed him as well. They got the best doctors at the university, so they went through every checklist.
No, I'll tell you this. When it comes to the transfer guys and even the high school guys, even on visits, they'll have these guys go through a whole rigmarole of height, weight, what's his wingspan, this and that. They're taking every single little detail like if this was an NFL team. But
because I know, Gio, there have been times, maybe we don't want to name names, but when certain players, either transfers or high school guys, you may think the dimensions are going to be something.
Oh,
then they get to the building and it's not what we thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Yep. Let's get the mic to him over here. Thank you, Marco.
Marcos is the man.
I love you guys' show, by the way. I watch your show every day, Donald. But
Thank you.
Also, it's like the game is all about the game within the game. No one's talking about our hidden ace, which is probably really good. Like, but who's covering Elijah Lofton? Like, which one of their guys is going to match up? Safety, linebacker? What do you sacrifice one of your DBs and bring him in a box and we kill you with the run? Like, what are you going to do?
I know from watching the tape on Notre Dame, couple guys stick out in particular that'll probably draw that matchup. One of their linebackers, their Will in Jalen Sneed, has coverage capability as well. Drake Bowen and Kingston Viliamasu, great pronunciation by there.
You nailed it.
Yeah. Well, Miami recruited him too, actually. Funny story about that. But to the point there, those two guys, more downhill guys, run game type. So the other one you'll be looking at is Aiden Schuler, who was I think he was like borderline freshman All-American for them last year. He had about 3 picks, was one of the highest graded safeties during the playoff last year, according to Pro Football Focus. But the other guy, Jalen Stroman, transfer from Virginia Tech. Miami played him last year, actually. So those will be the likely guys you'll see. I love Elijah Lofton, by the way. He's going to play in the backfield this season, too. He's going to be used in a variety of ways.
I was about to say, it's hard to cover him because you don't know where he's going to line up play to play. And Shannon Dawson always says it about Lofton. The ball just finds him.
I know we always talk about Lofton, though, but Alex Bowman caught 15 touchdowns through his last 2 seasons, and he transferred here. And he had a really good camp. The kid that came in from Tulane. I think he's someone that's going to give Notre Dame a problem.
So at the end of the day, let me ask you guys, at the end of the day, what offensive player gets named player of the game for Miami?
I think Lofton. I know I was watching Josh Pate the other day. He's picking Miami to win. So shout out to Pate.
Yeah.
Really?
He was saying he thinks Mark Fletcher would be the guy to have the player of the game perform. I'm not going to argue with it. Yeah. I think Miami's going to pick up yardage on the ground, maybe more by committee. But to me, I think Elijah Lofton might be the guy because, again, you can use him in so many different ways. I think that could be the guy who gets player of the game.
I think I agree. I mean, everybody's saying he's the X factor, but he is the factor. Like if he has a great game, Miami's going to win this game. because I have no doubt we're going to be able to run the ball. I have no doubt we're going to be able to run the ball, but I also know that, we were talking about this the other day, Gio. No team just runs the ball the whole game. And this whole notion that we're not going to be able to throw on that defense is absolutely ridiculous. With a quarterback like Carson Beck, so I just think the ball's going to go everywhere. Yeah, we'll run the ball, but we're going to throw a lot too. I think people are going to be surprised how much they throw. I know Mario's saying they're going to run the ball, and of course they will. But with Beck, that'd be like, not driving a Ferrari fast,
Yeah, I think that's the misconception that comes with Miami's offense this year, because people naturally think that, Beck's not like Ward. Maybe Miami goes back to more smash mouth football under Cristobal, and what people believe is his full-on philosophy. I tend to lean on the side that Mario Cristobal is a coach that likes to adapt and evolve. And I look at it from his tenure at FIU to Alabama to Oregon to now to Miami, and you see him spreading out the offense now, bringing in a guy like Shannon Dawson in the system he has here. I do think it'll be a little more balanced, but I don't think Miami's going to go away from throwing the ball like they did last year. Carson Beck has an arm. I've actually heard people say, I don't know if it's just people trolling or whatnot, but I've heard people out there say that, oh, he's got a noodle arm. He does not have a noodle arm. We watched it up close. That ball flies off the arm.
Well, then you haven't watched college football in the last 2-3 years if you think he has a noodle arm. Who do you think Miami will have more rushing attempts or passing attempts at the end of the game? I think passing too.
Passing.
I think
100%.
passing. Yeah.
So this thing about, they're just going to run. No, they're going to have way more. To me, they're going to throw a lot more than people think, because they're going to say, all right, we're going to test your DBs. And I mean, to me, and I've said this before, you can be young as a receiver and get open as long as you're fast. And they got speed. Miami, has speed all over the place. All over the place we got speed. And speed beats experience a lot of times.
So that environment this Sunday, because you've asked me before, I think I was there in the building in 2017.
Yeah.
So was
Actually
I.
brought my mom, who's out in the crowd. Hi, Mama.
Hey, Mom.
Mom.
Yeah.
I brought my mom to that game. She's been a season ticket holder for many years.
Oh, so
She couldn't
She
believe-
brought you. Let's get it right. She brought you. Let's get this right. She brought you.
I brought her. So yeah. No, I paid my ticket too,
Okay,
actually,
okay,
to be
good
fair.
deal.
So we both went. I know this sounds crazy, but we made the money back on the season tickets, by the way. We
Of
had some
course.
extras, so we sold them, made the money back on it entirely. I highly suggested that people do that. But don't tell the ticket office I said that, though.
Yeah.
So we were there for that. I remember that environment. I remember even her telling me, because she understands football much more now, because I've gotten into it in the media side and everything, and she loves it now. But she told me back then, she's like, wow, like, it was so loud in there. Like that ringing feeling you get in your ears. I was like that for like 2 or 3 days afterwards.
Same.
I think it's going to be even worse this time. I think it's going to be worse because this is how I explain it to you, but I'll say it for the crowd here. Think about it. It's Labor Day weekend. It's the only game on Sunday. Well, Sunday evening. There are other games, but Sunday evening is the only game on. Everyone's coming in from out of town, and it's South Florida. People want to come here. People love to vacation here, too. And it's a big ticket event. It's the only big ticket event in town this weekend. Everyone is going to be there. So I've heard even Notre Dame safety, Aiden Schuler, he told the media this week, he said, oh, yeah, it's going to be a home game for Notre Dame. How is it going to be? I think the split's going to be I think the split 70 Miami fans, 30 Notre Dame, because I know Notre Dame travels well,
They do.
but I think Miami is going to show
Well, and the
their
key,
support
the
this
key
weekend.
for me is if you want to shut out that 30%, score early and make them very quiet. Because that's what happened in 2017. Because, yeah, there was good amount of Notre Dame fans there, probably 20, 30% like you said, but Miami jumped out to a 26-0 lead. Like, they had nothing to be happy about in that game.
Yeah.
He shut them down.
Well, I think I know it's going to be louder because I have 2 kids, my son and daughter. And when my daughter knows she can get under my son's skin, she keeps doing it. She keeps doing it. And when Miami fans heard In Book talk about Miami being one of the loudest places he's ever played,
Louder than Michigan,
louder
he
than
said.
Michigan, louder than Georgia, Miami fans heard that and was like, oh, we're going to kick it up times 10 this time. So now we know we actually can get in a quarterback's head from Notre Dame. So I think it's going to be, whatever it was last time, it's going to be times 10 because now we know what we can do.
I agree, and I think of it from this mindset, from a Hurricane fan's mindset. You saw what happened in 2017 in that game and that experience, how it recaptured that Orange Bowl magic, right? I feel like fans get that sentiment where I don't want to miss this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to, like,
FOMO.
I wasn't there for that one, but I had a fear of missing out
Yes,
on
sir.
this one.
You know how bad Alex Rodriguez is upset he's not with J-Lo to show up to that game? Because he likes to be seen, you know.
Yep.
Any other questions? Okay, we
Cool.
got Marco's got you.
Which one over here?
Yeah, wherever they.
Sorry. Also, don't forget, gentlemen, Monday, Labor Day. So it's gonna get crazy.
2 questions. I think Carson Beck is going to be the one that stars in this game. I think he's going to be playing
Yep.
with a chip on his shoulder, and he's going to show these folks that have been doubting him that he can still play play ball. He's got a head on his shoulders. I listened to him during his interview. This guy can read defenses. I don't care what Notre Dame puts out there against him. I think he's going to be able to read it and hit our open receivers. Secondly, do we have a special teams coach? I know we're talking about us not getting anything, running any kicks back and all of that, but do we have a coach?
Yes, that is Danny Coulter. He's been with the program for quite a few years now, he started as a grad assistant, kind of worked his way up, worked as one of the he was in an analyst position before he got to special teams. Before that, I know D-Train, Dennis Smith, he was doing some of the special teams when he first got here, but it's Danny Coulter now.
We got another question back there.
Oh, hold on. Let's answer the Beck part, though.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
what was
Yeah.
the Beck question?
Well, about him, being motivated,
Oh, yeah.
and well, I will say, just like in a general sense, and I'm sure it applies to this game. I think one of the things that's going to help Beck this season, of course, Gio, you talked about all the drops in Georgia last year and all those other factors, but I think the change of scenery has lit a fire under this dude. Like, I really think that him, and I don't know how much of it is what they're saying about him in Athens. I don't know if he cares about that or not, but I do think he sees the opportunity here. And I got the sense talking to him in July that I think going through his injury and the recovery and the rehab kind of made him appreciate that this game is not guaranteed. And I think it's kind of given him like a little bit of a new lease on life, because I'm sure like right after he injured the elbow, he's probably wondering, hey, when am I going to be able to play again? Will I be able to play again at this high of a level? So I do think there's a lot of extra motivation for him.
I would agree with that statement, and reason being so, I spoke with someone who had a private conversation with Carson throughout this offseason. There was tension there between him and Georgia offensive coordinator Mike Bobo. Again, you look at Todd Monken, who was there before with Georgia and those national championship teams. He ends up leaving. That was Beck's guy. So I know there was tension there. And the other factor that you bring up, it's also the disrespect in the media, too. You see it throughout the offseason. You see the top quarterback list, and sometimes he's not even in the top 10. But we're talking about a guy a year ago who was the betting Heisman favorite. He was projected as a first-round pick. You go back and look at the 2024 odds, and you'll see everything that I'm talking about. It's not made up. It's real. But I think just mostly the disrespect, it's lit a fire under him.
Oh, I agree. And if it hasn't, then he's not going to be a great quarterback. Like any competitor that would light a fire under you. And by the way, who asked that question, we appreciate you driving in from Georgia a couple days early to make the podcast. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
He's following Carson Beck.
okay, Donald, this is for you.
He's in the back.
There's a certain guy that's on the podcast for Florida State. Brad, somebody?
Oh, is it Brian?
Brian.
Yes, sir.
Now, listen, this guy has been with Miami. He's covered Miami on many different occasions with you on your show, okay? I've always felt that he was pro-Miami, okay?
Yeah.
Now he's up there with the enemy, okay?
He's talking about Brian Smith.
Brian
Yeah,
Smith.
Brian
Oh, yeah,
Smith.
I know
Brian
Brian,
Smith.
yeah. I think Gio
and
knows
now,
it too,
Every time somebody asks him to give a synopsis on the game, he always says that Notre Dame has culture, as if Miami never had culture. Okay, we are a brand just as well as Notre Dame is a brand. Okay, and this guy, everything that he says about Miami, Notre Dame is better. Now, you ask who's going to be a breakout star of the game. Lyle has been hearing that Jeremiah Love is this and he's that. Don't you think that he's want to prove everybody wrong?
He's my guy for
think
this
so.
game.
And I
Okay.
think Mark Fletcher is has the same motivation. But it's funny you bring up on Brian Smith. He's not a Florida State fan or a Miami fan. He actually grew up a Notre Dame fan. I don't know if he's kept that allegiance, but listen, I think first I lean on him a lot for analysis. He's good at what he does.
That's great.
I don't have anything negative to say about the dude. I mean, he is picking Notre Dame to win the game, so I want to prove him wrong. That's what I want.
Well, I will say this, jumping on that, is when you're not on the ACC show, they crap on Miami all the time. I don't know if you've heard the
Yeah, that's what
ACC
people
roundup
say.
without him.
With Kenton
it
Gibbs, right?
becomes a Miami dump fest, man. I was like, I thought they were supposed to be talking about all the teams.
When the
but
cat's away, the mice will play.
yes, they are. They taking all the cheese. That's what they doing.
That's with Kenton Gibbs, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Kenton Gibbs. Oh yeah. We'll take. We only have time for like 2 more questions. I don't know where the mic is.
Right.
You got to. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, shout out to Michael. Yo, it's Anthony. I always follow your
Oh,
subscriber on
thank you, man.
YouTube.
Appreciate you.
So thank you for the show. My question, actually, is a 2-part question. Gio or Donna, we can answer this. How improved is this defense? You have 8 new transfer DBs. You got Corey Heatherman as a new defensive coordinator. How much improvement will we see? And my second question is, how confident are you to say this is going to be the team that we're going to see in the ACC championship game with Clemson, whoever makes it there?
You want to go first or me?
I can go first because
let Michael go
because y'all
first.
the experts. I'll go first. I think the defense is going to be really, really improved because the front 7 is. I mean, we made some improvements on it, but even last year's front 7 were in the top 20 in like several categories. So I mean, they were good. It's just when you give a quarterback 1 second, he was completing passes. The other quarterback was completing passes in 1 second. I don't care who's the front 7. They're not going to get to the quarterback. Our defensive backs were that bad. The improvement, I believe Gio told me on my podcast, there's one guy that was all something in another conference, and he's might not even start here, or he's second or third string here.
Charles Brantley. He's the 5th cornerback in
Right.
the lineup right now.
I mean-
and he had the lowest passer rating allowed in the Big Ten, played at Michigan State, all-conference guy last year. This guy's played a lot of college football. I think this should give some context, like where Miami's defensive back room is going into this year. You're talking about all-conference Big Ten, 5th guy in your room?
5th guy in the room. So I think the defense, I think Corey Heatherman, he looks like a psycho. I think he coaches like that. I mean, I just think, like he said, I think this is my thing with Florida players, especially at Miami. They're so athletic. And when Heatherman said see ball, get ball, that's it. That's it. Because they're better. On paper, we're better than most of the teams we play and lose to. So, but they're making them think too much. They're putting Akeem Messidor dropping back with a running back and all. No, just go get the ball. And I feel like this year's team, the defense is going to be amazing. To me, I think it'll be a top 20 defense.
Yeah, every defensive player that I've talked to, whether the cameras are on or not, since Corey Heatherman got there, they smile when they talk about his scheme because it allows them to play fast, and they really enjoy it. I think it's a really good match for the type of athletes Miami has. I also think it's a good match for Cristobal, and I'm sure that when Cristobal was interviewing Heatherman, the connection that they both have to Greg Schiano, they're both part of the Schiano coaching tree. I know Mario dotted his I's and crossed his T's and knew this is a guy who matches with what we do. And then the part of it was, you're looking at drastically improving a defense in 1 year. This is the perfect guy to do it because he literally did that in Minnesota. The year before he got there, they were, I think, 70th in total defense, and he got them into the top 10 in every category, top 5 in some categories. So he's shown that he can mesh with a team fast. And then in this case, guys, it's not just him taking over last year's personnel. Like you guys were talking about with a guy like Charles Brantley being the fifth cornerback. Miami did good work when it came to their personnel. Adding Mo Torre, Kamal Bonner to the linebacker unit, adding a guy like David Blay to your defensive line, and all the defensive backs. Xavier Lucas, Ethan O'Connor have had good camps. Keontae Scott has had a good camp. Like he just has a ton more to work with, and so I'm expecting the defense to be dramatically better, and it has to be.
I mean, just think about him walking through the door, Heatherman walking through the door, say, I have Bain and Messidor and all these cats. Just like he's going to play on another. He's like, I've never had this many toys.
He's never had athletes
I've
like
never
that.
had athletes
Right.
like this. My friend was a defensive back coach, and this is a totally different team. One of the best college football team in 2001 Miami Hurricanes. He was a defensive back coach, and he's a really good friend. And he goes, I've never been around so much talent in my life. And I feel like Heatherman has never been around so much talent in his coaching career so far, and he has it now. And now he's going to be able to just ball out.
Well, you're on to something with that, and the reason why I would say that is he coached at Rutgers and he coached at Minnesota. Both of those programs do not recruit at the same clip like Miami. Miami, at least since Mario Cristobal has come in here, if it's not every year, it's every other year. They're in the top 10, roughly almost top 5. They're right around that range. So yeah, Corey Heatherman's never had talent like Miami has this year. He's never had that amount of defensive backs. He's definitely done more with less, I would say.
Yeah.
So to answer the question, though, about the defense, I think there's nowhere to go but up. And the reason why I say that is the additions in the secondary, the level those guys have played at, what you have returning in O.J. Frederick as well, who's a legitimate NFL draft prospect. He's got another 2 years at Miami, but he'll be in the NFL soon. Defensively, you brought up Mohamed Toure, Kamal Bonner as well that you mentioned. Defensive line. It wasn't like Miami had a defensive line issue last year. Towards the end of the season, you saw teams kind of figured out the game plan where it was quick 3-step drops, quarterbacks just kind of dropping it into a bucket for the receivers, just quick game, screens. That's what you would see. So I know some fans would say at times, they'd say, oh, but what happened to our pass rush? We invested all these guys, Tyler Barron and what was the other kid? The kid that came from Marshall, Elijah Alston. Alston. They bring up those guys. You kind of negate that pass rush when the ball's coming out so quick.
Yeah.
Oh,
when you don't
100%.
have guys that can cover back there or no athleticism at safety. Like the joke we made earlier is like you and me were out there playing safety.
No, 100%. And they were Spider-Man the whole time. They're just somebody go in
Spider-Man
motion.
meme.
Oh my goodness! I've never seen so much confusion in my life. Like it's like they're going to do that every game, right?
Yeah.
But this is how bad the Miami the cornerbacks and safety were last year. And I heard this in an interview is when the coach for Fran from Syracuse, Clemson's coach Dabo called Fran and told him how to beat Miami. And Dabo didn't even have to show up and coach. He was like, this is what you need to do. Just do this, and you'll beat the defense. And he did.
By the way, that made me hate both of those guys even more than I already did. Like, I'm not a Fran fan, and I've never been a Dabo fan.
And this guy just calls Fran and says, this is how you beat Miami's defense.
Collusion.
And that's how easy it was. Literally, that's how bad the cornerbacks and safety were last year.
And that was a 2-part question, actually. Your question on the ACC, that absolutely has to be the expectation this year. You can't
100%.
come off the heels of having Cam Ward last season, and you were right on the cusp. Like, you lost that Georgia Tech game very tightly. Syracuse, it slipped away out of your hands after being up 21-0. We could all talk about the holding call, the phantom holding call. Let's be realistic here.
Yeah.
But it has to be the ACC. You have to be building towards something. You can't take a step back. I don't think Mario can afford to take a step back this year from a booster level to donors, the way this program is viewed, it has to be a trajectory. I think anything less than 10 wins this year is a disappointment. I know they won 10 last year,
They
but
have to make the
10
championship
wins,
game.
and
They
they
have
have
to.
to get into the ACC game. You get into the ACC game, you're in the postseason.
Yep.
The committee showed that last year.
Yeah, and I think they will. I mean, SMU got there last year. SMU's got a legit schedule. That they avoided everybody last year. Like they got to play Miami and Clemson this year. I think Louisville's pretty good, but I think Miami's better, and I think Georgia Tech is pretty good, but they don't have a lot of depth. So I think they'll probably win 8 games, something like that. So I think it better be Miami. It'll probably be Clemson. But Michael, you're not even sure if Clemson
I don't
get there.
think Clemson will be there.
Who do you think
I
gets
think
there, then?
Clemson.
Really?
I don't know who's going to get there, but it won't be Clemson. Because let me tell you, like everybody's saying Clemson is so good. They will lose to LSU first game, first of all. But Clemson, just think about this. Clemson's team is returning a lot of starters that played last year on a team that would have never made the ACC championship if we didn't choke, basically, right?
That's true.
So you're returning a team that wouldn't even made the ACC championship, that was 40th in defense, not even in the top 20 in offense, but now all of a sudden they're going to be like the best team ever, number 4 in the please stop.
Well, the
Stop.
Cade Klubnik hype has me questioning things too that I've seen from the media rounds all off season. He had a nice game against Texas. Go look at all the other ranked teams he played last year. He was the reason why Clemson lost those games. Georgia,
Carolina.
South Carolina.
Well, I also said this. I said this earlier in the podcast. They hand a piece of paper to all the same people, and they say the exact same thing. That's what media is. I've been on the other side. I've been there. It's like, here's a story. We're all going to say this, so we all go with the same. That's why any announcer you hear on ESPN or Clemson's the best. But they haven't done research. Now, I've not heard one person question the people returning on Clemson, saying, they would have never made the ACC championship if Miami didn't choke. Y'all know that, right? Why isn't that leading? Like, they're returning a lot of people that would have never made the ACC champ and got boat raced by Texas, I believe, right?
Yes.
So, you're returning a team that wouldn't have made the ACC championship, and they got boat raced by Texas, but they're all of a sudden all worldly.
I think you're right about like the talking points and stuff, because the one that really surprised me about the Clemson hype was, when we had, and I voted on this, Gio may have had a vote as well, like the ACC preseason media, like the all ACC team.
Yeah.
And I didn't vote for all these guys, but they had 11 Clemson players on the all ACC, half of
it's
the all
ridiculous.
ACC team Clemson players. I mean,
And a chunk of them from their defense, and their defense was not that good last year.
No,
either.
they weren't even in the top 30 last year. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm done with the media pushing this Clemson,
It's bias.
this bias. All right, we got to wrap this up. But I do want to bring on Ben from You Heard podcast. Come on up. Give him a round of applause.
my guy Pope.
We got to do the predictions.
Oh yeah.
Poke. Not Ben. Poke. My bad. Shit.
The other Ben.
The other Ben. Poke. My bad. I
Kane.
called him the wrong one. All right. So Poke is here from You Heard. What's this?
Let me see.
Oh, look
Oh,
I
love
love
that.
that.
That's a Polk Kane
Polk.
original, by the way.
That is
Sebastian the
disrespectful to
Ibis
leprechauns
knocking
right there.
out the Notre Dame leprechaun.
Love
Okay.
it.
So Poke is here. I'll let you kick it out. Let's do some predictions, man.
All right. Well, I've already, I don't know if you guys have gone on record with yours. I'll copy myself because I said it a couple days ago. I'm gonna go 23-20 Miami. I think it's gonna. I'm respecting the opponent enough to say it's gonna be a close game, but I got the Canes pulling it
And that's
out.
why I love you, Dono. You respect everybody. I am going to say this. I'm going to give it to you how it's going to go. First quarter, it'll be 10-7 Miami. We'll stretch it out to 17-7, maybe 17-10. Second, by halftime, it'll be like 17-10. And then the floodgates are going to open. And I think Miami, that's when Notre Dame starts feeling the pressure of Carr having to throw the ball to get back in the game. That's when we'll break it open. I say it'll be 35-10, but
But
they will score touchdown in the final few seconds, because Miami won't care, it'll be 35-17.
We still cover though, so that's okay.
35-17.
Still covered, so
35. It's not going to be close. It's going to be close. I'm telling you. Gio?
Well, I told you on your show, people
Yeah.
have been asking when I do the show with Amon Richards as well, but 38-17. I think 38-17. I think things will start to unravel in the second quarter. I think Carr is going to make a mistake, a big turnover, whether it's a fumble, interception. Interception would be great because Hard Rock would go crazy with that.
Yes.
Oh, you remember Trajan Bandy?
Need that pick six.
Yes. Pick six, Trajan Bandy
The roof
right
came
before
off.
the end of the first half. Yeah. So I think things will start to unravel in the second quarter, and I think Miami will press the gas in the second half. I think Notre Dame will probably get a garbage touchdown in the fourth quarter to get it to 17, like Mike said, actually.
Yeah.
So 38-17
You know what?
is mine.
It's going to be just like Florida. You remember Florida got that touchdown at the end of the game? It's going to be the same thing. All right.
Man, my predictions suck compared to you guys. By the way. maybe Polk.
No,
can do
because
better.
you're so respectful, and that's what we love about you, Dono.
I wait till after the game to talk trash.
There you go.
There you go. That's the best time to do it. No, first of all, appreciate you guys for having me on here, guys.
Oh, Polk, good man.
Follow you guys and listen to you guys all the time. I'm up here with some heavy hitters, man. I'm just a small guy on the totem pole with you heard, but I love you guys anyway. But I'm kind of gonna change my opinion from what I said on our show, a couple of weeks back when we did our predictions. I thought of going, it's like it might be a little closer than a lot of people think or a lot of people want to think. But I said 31-24 originally, but I've had a little time to think about it, and I've really gone back and kind of looked at the changes in defense that we've had, right? Bringing in the guys who did, addressing the issues that we had from last season, and I can't help but think, I was like, I really think they're going to get after Carr and really rattle his cage, and I think us as fans in the building are really going to have a big impact on that. And that Notre Dame fans want to say, oh, you're relying on your crowd noise to win you the game. But what they don't get is how loud that place actually gets. And, one of their own former players even said it was tough to play there. So I'm kind of going to take a touchdown away from them and kind of go along the same lines as you, Michael, and you, Gio. And I'm going to say 31-17.
31-17.
I'm changing mine to 59-0.
Let's go.
All right. I just want to say, hey, this is our first podcast we've ever done together. So thank you. Round of applause for you guys for coming out. Thank you so much.
I don't have a whole lot to add to that except thank you. And Polk, it's nice seeing you. Michael, thank you for inviting us because it took a man with actual organizational skills to get us together here, which I don't have.
And we'll do more. We'll do more. This is something I really believe in, and I told Dono and Gio this a while ago. I live in Las Vegas, but in 2027, when Miami opens against Utah and Las Vegas, we're going to have the biggest podcast. We're going to have 300-400 people here, and all y'all are coming. We're building towards that.
Hey, real quick, everybody plug their stuff. Gio, you go, and Polk and Michael.
Yeah, everyone can find me on X, or formerly known as Twitter, at GeoMilian, GeoMilian, and as in Nancy. You can also find me on YouTube with former Miami Hurricanes freshman All-American wide receiver Amon Richards. We do a weekly live show called Who Wants Smoke. A lot of people have been loving it. They love his insight too. You can find me on his show show as well. I try to make appearances wherever I can, and also the Caneswear podcast. Caneswear, located right down the road at Davie, 2655 South University Drive.
We love Caneswear.
It's funny. I think the only other times I've seen Polk in person have been at Caneswear, like half a dozen times.
Yeah, that's true. We did a few shows out there.
Pimp your thing out.
You can find me on X also at Polk Kane, also on Instagram. On the show, youheardpodcast.com, where you can read bios, get our merch, of course. We're on every Wednesday, Sundays at 6 p.m. On YouTube, You Heard Podcast, with my guys Benny, Joe, and everybody knows CB, of course. So you can catch us there.
And me, comics on Canes, and then I'm a stand-up comic as well. Mine, like these two, all these knowledge. Mine, I kind of make fun of the other teams. and just
Somebody's got to.
I just talk. I mean, I know a lot of facts, but I also like if you go to my podcast, I do a Marcus Freeman impression because we're both half black and Korean, and it's pretty funny. So check that out if you get a chance. But no, check it out. I love having these guys on, and I love the one thing that I really love is the community of the Miami Hurricanes fans, because no matter where you go, through every airport, if you say like, go Canes, go, I mean, we're so into it, and I love that, and I love that. And I want to continue to grow this thing. So yeah, check that out. And of course, you know this man right here. Give it up for Alex Dono. Come on now. Come on.
Yeah, check out Locked On Canes. I'm happy we're finally going to play this game because I'm tired of talking about it.
Yes.
Talking about it every single day. Locked On Canes on YouTube and on audio. And follow me on X at Alex Dono. With X, I'm trying to catch up to Gio. This guy is the king. It's Elon Musk, and then it's Gio Million.
and his Discord is amazing. I actually purchased his Discord. That's how much I love this man. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. So,
thank you all so much.
Thank you. Have a great night. We appreciate you.
Thank you all for coming out. Go Canes.